Good day to everyone. Today we from Group Oyabun, we will presenting topic ESG reporting. Meet our team. I'm Amirulfaiz and will be accompanied by Amirul, Asyraf, Ilya, Batrisyia, Syadiyah and Kevin. As stated in the slide, the presentation allocated to 6 sections and we hope everyone will understand after the end of presentation. As you know how many types of ESG reporting? So ESG reporting contains 2 types. Firstly, within annual report, which means annual and sustainability report in one report. As we can see, example from Top Glove report that combine annual and sustainability report in one report. Second type of ESG report is standalone report. What mean? It means this report separate between annual report and sustainability report. As we can see, example from FNM report using the standalone report.
Definition of ESG reporting. ESG reporting is the disclosure of environmental, social, and corporate governance data. As with all disclosure, its purpose is to shed light on a company's ESG activities while improving investor transparency and inspiring other organizations to do the same. Since ESG reports summarize the qualitative and quantitative benefits of a company's ESG activities, investors can screen investment, align investment to their values, and avoid companies with the risk of environmental damage, social misstep, or corruption. Next, dimension of corporate sustainability. There was 3 dimensions, which is environmental, social, and governance. First, environmental. It is conservation of the natural world. The environmental dimension of sustainability concerns the organization impact on living and non-living natural systems, including land, air, water, and ecosystem. The key stakeholder focusing area of environmental is climate change and carbon emission, air and water pollution, biodiversity, deforestation, and waste management. Second is social. Conservation of people and relationship. The social dimension of sustainability concerns the impact the organization has on the social system within which it operates. The key stakeholder focusing area of social is customer satisfaction, data protection and privacy, gender and diversity, employee engagement, human rights and labor standard. Lastly is governance. It is standards for running a company, the organization impact on the economic condition of its stakeholder and on economic system at local, national and global level. The key stakeholder focusing area of governance is board composition, audit committee structure, executive composition and lobbying.
In the theoretical perspective, we'll show you how the sustainability reporting can be related to 3 types of theories. The stakeholder theory believes is a view of capitalism that stresses the interconnected relationship between the business and its stakeholders such as investors, suppliers, communities, and the people who have a stake in the organization. Furthermore, the theory also argued that the firm should create more value for all stakeholders and not just shareholders. When it comes to the types of stakeholder, we have to identify who is the stakeholder. There are 2 types of stakeholder. The primary stakeholder, the people who are directly benefiting from or affected by a particular business activity. For example, the suppliers, the customers, and shareholders. The secondary stakeholder, the people who indirectly affected by a particular business activity. For example, the government and the media. The scholar Guthrie found that the stakeholder theory highlights organizational accountability beyond simple economic or financial performance. Therefore, the corporation will continue voluntarily disclosing social and environmental information if there are demands from important stakeholders. The second theory is legitimacy theory. And scholar Degan and Matthews state that the legitimacy theory is a social contract between an organization and the social it operates. When the legitimacy theory related to sustainability reporting, It explained that it's a behavior of organizations voluntarily disclosing the social and environmental information to fulfill the social contract that enables the recognition of their objectives and survival. Lastly, the third theory is signaling theory, that is useful for describing behaviors when two parties have access to different information. Signaling theory states that the corporate financial decisions are the signals sent by the managers to the investor in order to shake up the asymmetrics. We use Togolov as an example when it applies to signaling theory. In this slide, these are both Togolov's annual report cover pages. The picture in the right is still in pre-COVID period, and Togolov stating that they are the world's largest rubber glove manufacturer. Meanwhile, a few years later in 2021, in the post-COVID period, they are actively contributing to the more sustainable world as their signal sent by the corporation to the investors.
Next is story of ESG reporting. In 1987, the first report on sustainable development in Malaysia was introduced. In 2006, Bursa Malaysia implemented mandatory CSR reporting framework for PLC listed on Bursa Malaysia. In 2013, CSR framework covered the main issue of environment, economy and social or EES. In 2014, the introduction of the FTSE for Good Bursa Malaysia. In 2015, Bursa Malaysia Sustainability Reporting Guide was introduced. And lastly, in 2016, Companies Act 2016 introduced a provision to promote CSR disclosure.
Next, we will show you the difference between financial reporting and ESG reporting. First and foremost, financial reporting provides financial information, which is the process of documenting and communicating financial activities and performance. Meanwhile, ESG reporting primarily non-financial information, which is the disclosure of environmental, social and governance. Secondly, financial reporting mandatory. For financial reporting, it's important for management to make informed business decisions based on facts of the company's financial health. Meanwhile, ESG reporting disclosure under two different disclosure, which is voluntary and mandatory. Under the voluntary, must disclose ESG performance and future cash flows, while under mandatory, manager must disclose ESG quality only. Lastly, financial reporting are backward-looking because they take historical financial information to prepare their reports. Meanwhile, ESG reporting forward-looking to identify prediction that publicly traded corporations make about future business condition, restructurings, earning estimates and other fundamental company information, and also can be backward-looking by looking past situation in companies. For guidelines, they divided to two guidelines for prepare ESG reporting. Firstly, by using Bursa Malaysia. They are fully utilized for listed companies in Bursa Saham Malaysia. Secondly, by using GRI standards. They are also divided to two applications, which is full utilized for international largest or global companies, or partial utilized based on business nature.
The purpose of Bursa Malaysia Sustainability Reporting Guide, the first one is details the business case and provide guidance on embedding sustainability in organization. The second one is provide specific guidance on the information that should be disclosed when making a sustainability statement. Objective of Bursa Malaysia Sustainability Reporting Guide. The first one is appreciate how sustainability can facilitate, support and drive corporate and social value. The second one is improve awareness of the risks and opportunities connected to sustainability considerations. The third one is identify, evaluate and manage your material sustainability risks and opportunities in creating long-term value to stakeholders and society at large. The last one is improve the quality and depth of sustainability information disclosed. based on Bursa Malaysia, how to embed sustainability organization. There are 4 keys of consideration for embedding sustainability. The first one is tone from top, which is accountability should be at highest level. For example, the board. Board level commitment is crucial as it is the board that sets the strategic direction of the organization. The second one is identifying and prioritize material sustainability matters. This key enable the consideration of sustainability matters from both internal and external, for example, organization point of view and the stakeholders. The third one is managing material sustainability matters. Once material sustainability matters are reviewed and approved, the next step is to develop position and response with respect to each material sustainability matter. The last one is communicating and providing credibility to your sustainability performance and disclosures. After considering all the other 3 keys, now we have to consider the best way to communicate to the stakeholders. As you guys can see here in this slide, I have highlighted something in this slide, which means that it is not compulsory for a company to comply with only one guidance to provide a report. More than one guidelines can be used while preparing sustainability reporting.
Definition of Global Reporting Initiative or GRI, an international independent organization that helps business, governments, and other organizations understand and communicate the impact of business on critical sustainability issues. The GRI Sustainability Reporting Standard or GRI standards create a common language for organizations to report on their sustainability impact in a consistent and credible way. Next, history of GRI standard. GRI was founded in Boston in 1997 following public outcry over the environmental damage of the Exxon Valdez oil spill. The first version of what was then the GRI guideline G1 published in 2000 is providing the first global framework for sustainability reporting. In 2002, GRI relocated to Amsterdam, the Netherlands, and the first update to the guidelines G2 launched. As demand for GRI reporting and uptake from organizations steadily grew, the guidelines were expanded and improved, leading to G3 in 2006 and G4 in 2013. In 2016, GRI transitioned from providing guidelines to setting the first global standards for sustainability reporting, which is the GRI standards. The standards continue to be updated and added to including new ways in 2020. And for 2021, GRI launched our first GRI sector standard, which is oil and gas.
Next, reporting in accordance with the GRI standards. The organization must comply with all 9 requirements in this section for due reporting. For the requirement 1, the organization shall apply all the reporting principles specified in GRI 1 Foundation 2021. Next, for requirement 2, the organization shall report all disclosure based on GRI 2 General Disclosure 2021. For the requirement 3, despite only if the GRI sector standards that apply to each sector are available. The organization is required to review each topic described in the applicable sector standards and determine whether it is a material topic for the organization. If the organization has determined any of the topics included in the applicable sector standards as not material, then the organization is required to list them in the GRI Content Index and explain why they are not material. For requirement 4, the organization should report its process of determining material topics using and how it manages each material topic. For requirement 5, the organization shall report disclosure from the GRI topic standards for each material topic. For requirement 6, the organization shall provide reason for omission for disclosure and requirements that the organization cannot comply with. For requirement 7, the organization should publish a GRI Context Index. The GRI Context Index provides an overview of the organization's reported information. For requirement X, the organization should provide a statement use. The organization should include the following statement in its GRI Context Index. The organization is required to insert the name of the organization and the start and end dates of its reporting period in the statement. For the last requirement, the organization should notify the GRI. There are two GRI standards that are stated in this slide. Is it different? Yes. Left side standard is effective for or after 1 July 2018. Meanwhile, the latest is effective for reports on or after 1 January 2023. Other than that, the number of GRI standards and application also a little bit different. Whereas, for others, all companies should apply universal standards first, which is for foundation, GRI 101 for others and latest GRI 1. Second, for general disclosure, GRI 102 for others and latest GRI 2. And management approach, GRI 103 for others and for the latest GRI 3. Next step, use the sector standards that apply to company sector. And last step, select topic standard based on company's business nature. Meanwhile, for others, directly select to specify disclosure for each material topic, which is GRI 200 governance, GRI 300 environment, and GRI 400 social. For application GRI standards, there are three universal standards. First, GRI 1 that sets starting point for all organizations. For GRI 2, disclosure that the organization used to provide information about its reporting practices and other organizational details, such as its activity, governance, and policies. For GRI 3, guidance for identifying material topics and contains disclosures about the organization's material topics and related impacts.
GRI 1 is about reporting principle. The reporting principle is fundamental to achieve high quality sustainability reporting, and the organization must use this principle to ensure that its sustainability reports are prepared in accordance with GRI standards, which will guide the organization to ensure that information is presented correctly and with quality. GRI 2 is about general disclosure. There are 5 components that must be disclosed in ESG report for a company. Among them are the organization and its reporting practice, activities and workers, governance, strategy, policies and practice, as well as stakeholder engagement. This is an example from FNN company using GRI 2.1 on the organization and its reporting practice. So, we can see FNN using GRI standards and Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad main market listing requirement. This is an example from FNN company using GRI 2.2 on activities and workers. This is an example from FNN company using GRI 2.3 on governance. This is about corporate structure on food and beverage in Malaysia. This is an example from FNN company using GRI 2.4 on strategy, policies and practice. Next, this is an example from FNN company using GRI 2.5 on stakeholder engagement. GRI 3 explains how an organization manages material topics, where it covers specific GRI standard topics such as GRI 200, 300 and 400, as well as other material topics. Next, this is an example from telecom company that use GRI 3, which it identifies 7 material things of high importance. All of these are considered when developing their business and sustainability strategies, which include customer experience, product innovation, governance, responsible supply chain, climate change, human capital, and community development. There are 3 applications of the GRI standard consisting of GRI 200, 300 and 400. As shown in the slide, there are 7 standards for GRI 200, while for the GRI 300 and 400, there are 8 and 18 standards respectively. Next, we use 3 companies, namely Telecom, Senabi and Nestle for the GRI standard application. According to the schedule, Nestle used all the standards available on the GRI 200, GRI 300 and GRI 400 compared to Standard B and Telecom. On the next slide, I will explain in more detail the examples of standards used by these companies. The following is the application of GRI 200 for the three companies. In GRI 200, the economic dimension of sustainability concerns and organizations' impacts on the economic conditions of its stakeholders and on economic system at local, national and global levels. It also does not focus on the financial condition of an organization. Next is an example of a standard found in the GRI 200 used by three companies, namely GRI 205, which is about anti-corruption 2016. This standard also clarifies whether the company practice anti-corruption in company. This is an example from a Nestle company that used the GRI 201 Economic 2016. It is only used by Nestle company compared to Telecom and Standard B. The following is the application of GRI 300 for the three companies. In the GRI 300, it describes the environmental dimension of sustainability as concerning an organization impacts on living and non-living natural systems, including land, water, and ecosystem. This is an example from a telecom company that used the GRI 302 Energy 2016, which is also used by Nestle and Standard B. This standard describes the energy consumption used by the company in factories, warehouse, and others. Next is an example of GRI 300 that is only used by Nestle company, namely GRI 301 Materials 2016, where it is about how much material is used by the company to make production and how much material can be recycled. The following is the use of GRI 400 for three companies. In GRI 400, it describes the social dimension of sustainability as concerning an organization's impacts on the social system within which it operates. Next is an example of GRI 403, Occupational Health and Safety 2016, which is used by three companies, namely Syadiyah, Nestle, and Telecom. This standard describes the safety and health of employees, such as safety measures at work, training, and seminars on health. This is an example of GRI 400, which is only used by Nestle company, namely the GRI 412 Human Rights Assessment, which is about human rights for every employee.
We have chosen the article Corporate ESG Reporting Quantity, Quality and Performance with Novel Environmental Policy and Practice as our issue. The background of this article is carried in Sweden. The researchers in this article have raised two questions. The main question in this article, the first question, is ESG reporting increasing? And the second question, if so, has this resulted in improving ESG quality or ESG performance? And we used to know that Sweden is the top leader in developing ESG reporting. Therefore, the researcher answered it by three dimensions. The first dimension is quality. ESG information continues to lack value relevance. The researcher found that the information must be high quality and relevant to the topic in order to improve the ESG quality and performance. Second dimension is quantity, the problems with voluntary and regulated ESG reporting. Yes, there are many ESG reporting increase in the past few years, but the quality of the developed ESG reporting isn't really satisfying enough. Therefore, the ESG regulative reporting instruments such as GRI, they have been issued and implemented to improve the overall performance of ESG reporting. Lastly, the third dimension is performance, the problem of improvement due to the environmental constraints. And the EU directive has suggested to driving more companies to provide more ESG information. And this is the result they have developed by the researchers in this article, in this research. They have answered it in accordance with the two main questions arise. Has there been an increase in ESG reporting in Sweden? Yes, it is. The ESG reporting increased throughout the period in the year of 2008 until 2018, but it increasing slowly at the end of the period. Has there been an improvement in ESG reporting quality in Sweden? Yes. The ESG reporting quality is improving in Sweden from the year of 2008 until 2018. And lastly, is there an improvement in ESG reporting performance in Sweden? Yes, ESG reporting performance is improving. and the tendencies towards a performance plateau from 2015 until 2018. And this is the summary of our topic, ESG reporting. I wish you a very good day and thank you for listening.